Hi everyone, Shanna with Apogee of the Moon, and welcome back. So I am back to talk about the eclipses, and I do apologize that I have been absent, for several weeks, maybe a month or two, I think. I'm not really 100%. I have been very busy, actually, doing things behind the scenes and doing things that I am absolutely passionate about with Heather over on Astrology with Heather. Just ramping up the course and doing teaching assistant things and doing behind the scenes things there. So I've been having a lot of fun, been keeping really busy. So I do apologize that I haven't created any videos for you. Yeah, so now I'm back, and yeah, let's jump in. So we're going to be talking about the eclipse coming up. And so the eclipse is coming up next week on the 30th on Saturday, Saturn's Day, right? This eclipse is happening at 10 degrees of Taurus. And so anyone with any fixed sign placements, that would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, this is going to affect you the most. Taurus people especially are going to be affected, or if you have really prominent placements in the fixed signs, this is going to affect you in a very intense way, right? And when I say intense, I don't mean in a bad way. Okay, this eclipse is actually really nice in terms of the energy of everything that's going on in the astrology and all of that. But it is intense because there are things that need to be let go of. There are things that feel kind of heavy that we need to kind of move away from and let go of fear of taking those next right steps, right? Because, well, let's jump in and talk about the eclipse. So, this eclipse is happening at 10 degrees of Taurus, but Saturn is squaring the nodes at this time, right? It's moving on from the exact square, but it's still very much present. The upcoming Scorpio eclipse will be squaring Saturn almost exact. And then again in the fall, when we come into the next eclipse season, Saturn will also be squaring, the eclipses there too, and the nodes and all of that. So we have things that need to be taken care of. We have karmic lessons that need to be wrapped up. We have to let go with that South Node in Scorpio of fear, right? And this is the thing. Like Scorpio does get a bad rap just because it can be a very intense sign, and it's black and white, and not everyone can live in black or white situations. Not everyone is black or white in terms of how they see the world and what they express. Some people do, and so this can be very cut and dry if you're one of those people that sees the world through the lens of black and white. What's good, what's bad, what's imbalanced, what's out of balance, what is happening versus what is not happening. And so people that live in that gray area can be more affected by eclipses on the Taurus and Scorpio axis than others. That being said, this is also fixed sign energy. And so with Saturn squaring the nodes at this time, we can definitely feel the burden and the limitation of our decisions up to now in the life that we are living in specific areas, in a specific area in terms of the Aquarius energy, right? Where Saturn is right now, where, we've been wanting to make changes in this Taurus area, but Saturn has kind of been coming in and saying, no, not yet. It's not time. And now that it's T-squaring with the nodes, there's something that really needs to change in this Aquarius part of our charts. And so there's something that needs to change, depending on what your ascendant sign is, depends on where this is happening for you. But as a collective, because this is squaring the nodes and the sun is currently in Taurus, this is definitely an energy of what is it that needs to be excised out of your life? What is it that you've been there, done that, and the lessons that you've learned for your growth and your development, yes, has been so valuable, but it's served its purpose, it's served its time, it's done, and now you need to move forward. But you need to do so in the best possible way, in an integrity aligned way. So, that being said, let's talk about the eclipse itself. We've been feeling this energy for a couple of weeks now. You know, Mercury was the first one to really kind of be in Taurus and all of that. Mercury made its conjunction with Uranus, it made its conjunction with the North Node, and now it's moving on into Gemini at this time. And so there's kind of light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, if I can say that. And so we do see Venus, especially with this being a North Node eclipse, you know, in Taurus. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Venus is with Jupiter in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces with the chart ruler, or not the chart ruler, sorry, with the sign ruler of Pisces. And so this is expanding on and enhancing all of those Venusian relationships, money, things like this in this part of our charts that we can kind of rely on, that's kind of almost coming out of nowhere for our best interest, whether or not this is relationships, this is people, this is money, this is material possessions, this is anything, right? Depending on how your chart is set up and where this falls for you. But this solar eclipse brings things to us. This is the first solar eclipse in Taurus since 2012 to 2014, right? But then it was a South Node eclipse. So now with this North Node eclipse, you know, there are things that we are moving towards, because we already had that partial lunar eclipse in Taurus last fall in November. And so there's kind of this sense that something that we know is done and gone and needs to be excised out of our life. There's more that needs to come in because of that, right? Like we purged something, now it's time for something new to happen, something new to come in. And this is what's going on. Pluto has freshly been stationed retrograde. So we've been feeling Pluto station retrogrades for the entirety of April. We'll be feeling this for most of May as well, just because it is an outer planet way out there, right? And so Pluto is very slow moving. With that being said, you know, our spidey senses, if I want to call it that, or our paranoia can run rampant. Our fears can really come up in big ways. Our traumas, our wounds, things like that can come up very strongly at this time. And with this eclipse and the node, you know, the South Node being in Scorpio, this to me, you know, says that because it's in sextile with Jupiter and Venus at this time, we have a chance to let go and have it almost be magical. And that's one of the things, because when Pluto is in sextile, you know, with Jupiter and Venus, these are the two benefic planets in the astrological planetary makeup, right? So when they come together, it's all good things. And with the sextile to Pluto, this is grounding that down into reality. And so on the one hand, we can excise any inner demons, if you will, and heal magically for ourselves, for a person. But this can also be taking something that has been a dream or something that has been kind of unattainable up to now, and we can bring it down into reality and we can manifest it with the sextile to Pluto and Capricorn especially. So we do have beautiful energies to pull from. You know, the eclipse itself at 10 degrees of Taurus, this is actually where Uranus stationed to go direct in January. And so we could be visiting themes of January, of what happened in January when Uranus was stationing to go direct. So there's definitely things there to keep an eye on. You know, Uranus is now at 14 degrees, but its influence with this eclipse will be felt. These wild, you know, left turns, kind of crazy things going on, you know, while it's not exact. you know, it will happen at some point when Uranus comes together with that North Node later in the summer. So with this, you know, it's expect food, resources, relationships to be kind of in the forefront with this, and not necessarily in a bad way, but in a very dynamic and different way than what we have experienced thus far in our lives, right? Because Uranus is shaking things up, Venus and Jupiter are conjunct, this eclipse happening, there's something that we're not seeing yet, something that we're not seeing clearly, or something that we haven't seen at all, brand new, coming into our awareness. This can be technology, this can be a person, this can be resources, money, possessions, right? A job, whatever it is, wherever this falls in your chart, something new is beginning. And it's going to be different, but it's not going to be without some type of limitation. It's not going to be without some type of process that we have to go through, something that we have to release before we can move forward. And it's time. It really truly is. So let me get into the 12 signs. And so here we go. So Aries and Aries rising. This new moon eclipse is happening in your second house. And so this is money, material, possessions, finances. This is what it is that you truly value at that deep core level. This is sacral chakra energy for those of you that fall in line with that type of thinking. This is what it is that you truly value at that core level. And so this is something new that's coming in that maybe new resources coming in that you've never had before. This could be, with, you know, everything going on, this could be a magical manifestation of something for you, in terms also with, you know, the Venus and Jupiter conjunction in the 12th house and sextile with Pluto. This can definitely be a manifestation of, as well, a different kind of career move for you, of where you're moving into. Something it is that you're being known for has been transforming here, and it's very spiritual in nature. So that's what can be going on there for you. And then, you know, with Saturn in your 11th house, squaring the nodes in the 2nd and the 8th, there's a big need to let go of fear of relying on other people, or letting go of another person's resources, because you just are not going to have access to it anymore. The time has come for you to rely on yourself and on your own finances and on your own value systems versus what other people have been saying. So with Saturn here in the 11th house, yeah, this is your friends, the organizations that you belong to, the people that you align yourself with. But this is also your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. And so there's a need to let go of, you know, and maybe there could be a feeling of melancholy here, and maybe you feel limited in terms of the things that you want to do out in the world, or that you want to, what's the word I want to use here? There could be a need to let go of friends, right? And or a reliance on certain resources that come in from an outside source to move into being more autonomous and being more independent and being more on your own and standing on your own. That could be a thing too. And this, you know, this eclipse itself is definitely highlighting what you want in terms of your resources, and that there's something new that can come in for you to make resources or to make money. It's a new revenue stream, right? And so that's what I see for Aries and for Aries rising with all that. And I do hope I'm being clear, because I haven't done a forecast in a while, and so feeling a little rusty. Okay, so for Taurus and for Taurus rising, this eclipse is happening in your sign. This is your eclipse. This is, the North Node is on you. Your focus is on yourself, right? There's a need to let go of relationship. There's a need to let go of, someone else, or a need to kind of take the focus off of your relationships and put the focus on you and on who you are. And also with Saturn up there in your 10th house of, letting go, with it squaring the nodes, letting go of the fear of maybe even being alone in the world, and focusing more on you and developing yourself and your soul and your expression in this world. There's a need to let go of fear, too, of maybe even being seen. Like, this is also you getting very clear with what you want in your career and who you want to be in your career, but as well who you want to be and the kind of body you want to live in. This could very much be you deciding that you're going to take your health, your physical body, your physical self into your own hands and do the things that you need to do to get yourself situated with your body. And so this eclipse is highlighting that, and there's something new that's coming in. There's a transformation that's happening with you, with your body, with yourself. And so I did want to bring that up. And with Uranus here, and especially with it being conjunct Uranus, this is going to be very wild, very different, very out of the box for you in terms of how you go about doing this. Now, your friends groups and the people that you associate with by choice, this is where Jupiter and Venus are conjunct. And they're in sextile to Pluto in your 9th house. You could have a deeply transforming way of seeing the world, or a course of some type, or study or teaching that transforms how you see reality, how you see the world. And in turn, it's also very magical, the people that are coming in to align themselves with you, because this is also your chart ruler, right? With Jupiter, which is in your 11th house. So you can align yourself with people at a very fortuitous time to change what it is that's going on with you, change your reality, change how you see things. It's very, very interesting how this is showing up for you. So yeah, bully for you, Taurus, bully for you. Okay, and so for Gemini and for Gemini rising, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. And so eclipses in the 12th house can pull you out of the world, quite literally, out of kind of what you're doing and where you are. Some of you can either be working from home, which I mean, a lot of people are anyway, but this could pull you out of your career. This could pull you out of doing something. This could pull you more into the privacy of what's going on behind the scenes. I know personally, when I had eclipses in my 12th and in my 6th house, right, which is where this is happening for you, I ended up going to an offsite position in my job, and subsequently COVID hit in 2020 and I started working from home. So I'm not saying that that's necessarily what's going to happen for you specifically. It depends on how your chart is made up, but there could be a need to rest. There could be a need to pull yourself out of the everyday. There could be a need to kind of pull yourself behind the scenes and recharge yourself specifically, because you've also just gone through eclipses in your 1st and in your 7th, right? So it's like, when that happens, when the nodes change signs and it goes out of your 1st and your 7th into your 12th and your 6th, it's almost like, okay, now that you've made all these changes, now that you've focused on yourself, now you need time to kind of regroup and reprocess that information and the things that are going on for you. And so with Jupiter and Venus being conjunct in your 10th house, this is good for you, because what this is doing is this is showing you the benefit of your career. This is showing you the benefit of taking that time to rest, because Venus does rule your 12th house as well. And it can show you maybe even how you've been seen in the world up till now and how you want to change that going forward. With the sextile to Pluto, this is happening in your 8th house. So there could be some really big changes and big transformations that are going on in terms of other people's money, debt, taxes, finance, inheritance, insurances, things like that, that are kind of helping you in in terms of what it is that you're doing out in the world, what it is that you're known for. So there could definitely be money to be made in terms of, you know, what you're doing out in the world with this, and like wish fulfillment kind of thing. So that is what I see for you as well. And then for Cancer and for Cancer rising, this Taurus eclipse is happening in your 11th house. And so this eclipse is bringing new friendships, new people, new experiences, new hopes, wishes, dreams, new goals and orientations. Something maybe that you never even thought that you would ever want, especially with Uranus here with this eclipse. Something that maybe you never thought you would want is coming into the forefront, is coming in for you to seize hold of and take hold of. Now, with the North and South Node being in square to Saturn, this is happening in your 8th house of healing. There's something healing, transformation, other people's money, debt, taxes, insurance, finances, all of that stuff that has to do with other people. And so what this could be is maybe there's a limitation on on money that's coming through from other people, or maybe there is a very deep, very profound psychological change that's going on with you specifically to kind of propel you forward. There's something that has to do with like fears around children, fears around sex, fears around joy, fun, play that you need to let go of. There was something maybe that was wounded with you with that. And so now with Saturn squaring these nodes, it's time to let that go. It's time to heal. It's time to, you know, take those hurts, take those wounds, take those boo-boos, take those psychological traumas, and see them for what they truly are, and move forward in a very dynamic and different way than what you have in the past to get through them, right? And it's not about avoiding them, it's about going through. So that is for Cancer as well. And then the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus in sextile with Saturn. This is happening in your 7th and in your 9th house. This is great for your relationships with other people. There's a relationship that can probably come in that's going to be very transformative, very grounded, very intensely, well, very intense it can be, right, with Pluto there, but very profound and very vulnerable. Right? And so there could be a need, a want, or desire to be vulnerable in relationship, to to be vulnerable in relationship if that is applicable to you. And so with this sextile to the 9th house, this is, you know, this is beautiful energy in terms of going back to school or manifesting even a relationship with someone that is going to expand, right, with Jupiter, expand on your knowledge, expand on how you frame reality, expand on that and help transform it for the better, right? Letting go of that fear, again, with the South Node in Scorpio and Pluto, you know, making positive application to this Jupiter Venus conjunction. But also too, this is really helping you to transform your hopes, wishes, and dreams too, because Venus does rule your 11th house where this eclipse is happening. So it could definitely propel you in a brand new direction, and it can really help you to understand what your goals and aspirations are going forward. That's what I have for Cancer. For Leo and for Leo rising, this eclipse is happening in your 10th house. And so just because Uranus is on your angles, and let's throw in some eclipses, and let's throw in Saturn squaring the nodes on your descendant, and I'm feeling this myself because I am a Leo ascendant. But this can be really good in terms of your career, what it is that you're known for. There can be very dynamic changes coming in to your career and how it is that you're known and who you're known as out in the world. And it's going to be very different and very dynamic because of Uranus here, shaking up what you thought was stable in terms of your career and what you're doing. This could propel you in a whole new direction with your career, something that maybe you never thought that you would ever do. And then with Saturn on the descendant squaring the nodes in the 4th and the 10th, this could mean that there's something going on the home front that needs to be let go, or there is a home that needs to let go of, or maybe you're feeling the pressure, the burden, and the limitation of what's going on in relationship, and maybe you need to change that to be able to change your relationships with the people that you live with, and be able to do what you need to do out in the world that maybe you've just discovered, and maybe you're super passionate about it, right? There's definitely something here. Now with Jupiter and Venus in a conjunction in your 8th house, this can be other people's money. This can be an opportunity for very profound healing for you specifically, you know, with Pisces as your 8th house. There can be a lot of times in your life that maybe you've been scapegoated, maybe you've been kind of pushed by the wayside by other people, or you've been projected upon, and so that has really affected your psyche. But now with Jupiter and Venus here in a sextile to Pluto in your 6th house, maybe there's some changes that have gone on or will go on, you know, over the unfolding over the next while after this eclipse, that is changing up what you're doing every single day. You're getting hyper focused about your health, your wellness, your well-being, your mental attitudes, your physical body even, and it's going to help to transform, you know, any traumas, any wounds, any things that you have that are holding you back from achieving, especially in that 10th house, and especially with the fact that Venus, you know, Venus rules this eclipse. So definitely there is something that can really be transformed in terms of like your old traumas, old wounds, and things like that. This can also be other people's money. Maybe your spouse, your business partner, something like that comes into, you know, a really decent amount of money, and they could possibly share that with you. You know, that's also a thing here too. But that's what I have for Leo. And then for Virgo and for Virgo rising, this solar eclipse is happening in your 9th house. So this solar eclipse happening in your 9th can be a completely different direction, trajectory, projection into how you see the world around you, completely transforming, you know. It's like that shock and awe kind of thing, right? With Uranus there as well. But there's definitely some left-hand turns that are happening in terms of how you see reality, what it is that you're learning about in the world, or how you're learning how to see the world around you. And so maybe there's something here that can transform for you. Maybe there is a move, especially because this is the 9th house. Maybe there's a move on the horizon for you. Maybe there's something that you yeah, that you're moving, like moving house. Like maybe you decide that, you know, you're going to sell your house and you're going to move to a different location or something like that. Like that could be something that's going on for you. There could be also education that comes out of the blue, that there's this course that you sign up for that is completely going to change your trajectory in the world and what you're doing. Now with the Jupiter Neptune, no, we'll talk about Saturn. So Saturn is squaring the nodes. So this is happening in your goodness, in your 3rd and in your in your 3rd and in your 9th, and Saturn is in your 6th house. So maybe you've been feeling the pressure, the burden, and the limitation in terms of what you're doing every single day, your work, your job, your daily routine, the daily hustle and grind that you have to go through in order to you know, make money. Or this could even be your health, your wellness, your well-being, in terms of like what you're doing with your body every single day. Maybe there's something you have felt maybe limited. Maybe you have had health issues crop up, or chronic things going on that are kind of not helping you to get things done on a daily basis. And so squaring the nodes in the 3rd and then the 9th house, this is letting go. This can be letting go of fear surrounding, you know, your communication style. This could be letting go of toxic places. This could be letting go of like a toxic community or a toxic mindset that you have, and moving more towards something that is aligned with yourself, with how it is that you see reality. But the way you're seeing reality is changing and is dynamic right now. So There's definitely some really interesting things going on there for you. And then the Jupiter and Venus conjunction is happening in your 7th house. This has to do with your relationships, your one-to-ones, your partnerships, your spouse, your business partners, your clients, right? So who you're relating with or who is coming into your life, and especially because this is a North Node eclipse in Taurus, which Venus rules. And Venus in the 7th house for you is exalted, right? Your relationships have been very lucky and very fortuitous. And so with Jupiter here, especially, this could be I mean, Jupiter does rule your 4th house too. So this could be a contract for the purchase or the sale of a home. And it's something that you have wanted to do. The sextile to Pluto in your 5th house could mean that there is something that you are really passionate about in terms of maybe the property, right? You're really passionate about this specific property and it's something that you've wanted for a long time. And I know this is oddly specific, but I'm just saying it could happen. Otherwise, this could be getting very clear in your relationships about the things that you want, like going forward, like the things that you're passionate about. Maybe you meet someone that is passionate about the same things. Maybe your relationships thus far have not been, grounded in that sense, that the people that you've been relating to aren't as passionate about the things that you're passionate about. And maybe with this eclipse happening in Venus and Jupiter in your 7th house in sextile to Pluto in your 5th, you meet someone that is just as passionate about the same things that you are passionate about, and you click right off, right? Like it could be something like that too. And that's what I have for Virgo. For Libra and for Libra rising, this eclipse is happening in your 8th house. So this could be taxes, insurances, inheritances. This could be money from other people or through other people. This could be loans through bank institutions and things like that as well, because that's also seen from the 8th house. But this could also be something to do with your partner's resources, something you're not seeing yet. Maybe there is some dynamic way that your partner is going to change what it is that they're doing for money. And this is so profound and so intense for you, especially with, Uranus being here. This is like a left turn from maybe where your spouse has been going thus far, and they have decided that they're going to do this thing that is completely different and weird. And maybe it's astrology, maybe it's spirituality, and they're like one of these people that is more like, no, this is physical tangible reality around us and I'm not that spiritual. Well, maybe they will be. Maybe that'll change. The other thing that's going on too is Saturn is squaring the nodes from your 8th and your 2nd. There is a need for you to let go of fear surrounding how it is that you make your money, how it is you make your money, your values, your value systems, what you're doing to make money could be up for reevaluation or change, and you're moving more into maybe a dynamic partnership with someone to start another business or something like that, right? Like that could be a thing here. This could also be moving more towards, there could be power struggles though too with children because of Saturn squaring the nodes in the 2nd and in the 8th house. There could be power struggles to do with your finances and joint resources as well as children. But there's a need to kind of let go of that and move forward with what it is that you truly desire. And so this can also be taking something, especially with Saturn here in the 5th house, this could be taking something that you are truly passionate about, something that lights you up and brings you so much joy that you are, turning this into something that can be lucrative as well. Maybe it's something from the past that you decide that you're going to also bring with you, right? Because Saturn is squaring the South Node as well. But Venus and Jupiter are conjunct in your 6th house of your coworkers, of your health, your daily routines, your wellness, all of that, in a really nice sextile with Pluto in your 3rd house. So there could be some really profound things going on in terms of your daily routine, in terms of your physical health, your physical wellness and well-being, and how you're showing up in service. And this could even be, this could be really beneficial for you specifically with transforming how it is that you communicate with the people that you are around every single day, and your colleagues and your coworkers and your subordinates. And it's going to have such a profound impact on your relationships with them and the money that is coming in, right, with that 8th house eclipse that's happening. So that's what I have for Libra. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this eclipse is happening in your 7th house of relationships. There is something that you are not seeing, something or someone that is coming in that is going to radically change how it is that you see relationship, or how you yourself are being in relationship. With Saturn squaring the nodes from the 4th house, right? Your ascendant, I've talked about this before, where you have the south node in your 1st house, on your ascendant, whatever degrees you're at. There is a shedding of your skin that is going to be happening. There is something that you yourself need to release. A person who you thought you were is no longer valid for the dynamic future you're moving towards in partnership with other people. And so there's a need to let go of an old self. There's a need to let go of the fear around being in partnership with other people. Maybe it has to do with your parents. Maybe it has to do with your, your current living situation, right? With Saturn down there in the 4th. There's something that's going on that needs to be restructured in terms of the 4th house and the home, the family, the property. And you're moving more towards this eclipse, especially with Uranus here. Maybe this could even be the purchase of a property that comes out of the blue just like that. And it's the dream property. It's the forever home. It's, the forever homestead, if that's applicable to you, if that's something that you're going towards. And so there's definitely some dynamic things going on. There could even be dynamic things going on with your partner, something that you're not seeing that has to do with your partner or partnerships and the people that you have those contracts with, or the people that have been long-standing friends in your life. And there's shifts happening for them, and in turn that's happening for you too. So that's what I have for that. And then for the Jupiter and the Venus conjunction, that is happening actually in your 5th house of fun, play, romance, sex, things like that. So there's definitely and children, right? And so there's definitely some really interesting things going on for you in terms of your and I just realized that I got that wrong for Libra. Oops. Sorry, Libra. And sorry, Scorpio. But so this Pluto in your 3rd house, this is transforming. This is a co-ruler for you. This is transforming your communication, how you communicate, who you're communicating with, and what you're communicating about, and what you're talking about. This is also your community, right? And so there could definitely be some very dynamic changes, especially with this eclipse, with who you are even in your community. Who you are within your community is changing as well. And maybe there's something that you're truly passionate about with, with a partner that, in partnership, because Venus is the ruler of your 7th house. So there could definitely be some interesting things going on with how it is that you're expressing yourself, depending on where your ascendant is, if you're the later degree ascendants or the mid degrees even. And so there's a new you on the horizon. There's a new relationship on the horizon. There's a new person on the horizon. And maybe it's going to be very different than anything that you have ever experienced in your life thus far. So that is what I have for Scorpio. For Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, this North Node eclipse is happening in your 6th house of your daily routines, your health practices, your work, where you show up in service. Your mental and physical well-being is being affected. Something new is coming in and dynamic. This could be dynamic, even healing for your body. Just because it is the 6th house and it is like your mental and physical mind-body connection going on, right? So there could definitely be some really interesting things going on there for you, as well as, Saturn is squaring the nodes. Saturn is in your 3rd house of communication of how you're communicating. There could be a need to really let go of any self-sabotaging behaviors or any fears around, you know, not being of this world, because the 12th house is, you know, it's a hidden house. It's a house of endings. It's a house of self-sabotage. It's also a house of hidden enemies as well. But in this instance, there's a need to kind of let go of that kind of fear going on with, you know, things behind the scenes, things you can't control, things you can't see, and letting go of that and moving more towards what you're doing every single day that feels good, right? Especially with Saturn in the 3rd house. And this is changing. This is this can either be limiting what you're saying, or this can be you being very diligent and very focused and very precise, right? Because Saturn does require these things with what it is that you're speaking, what it is that you're saying out in the world. And so this can also change what it is that you're doing every single day and how you're doing it and what have you. Now, with Venus and Jupiter coming conjunct in your 4th house, this bodes well for, you know, your home, your family, your property. And so with Pluto in the 2nd house in sextile to this could be crazy finances coming in that allows you to have the home or come home to whatever it is that you truly desire here in this 4th house. You know, this is really kind of a really beautiful, magical energy in terms of transforming your own finances and therefore transforming and pulling in and honing in on what you're doing at home. Like maybe you're actually working on your home specifically, like with that, you know, with this eclipse happening in your 6th house, there's working on your home. That's Venus ruling this eclipse. There could be every single day there's something going on the home front for you. And that's what I have for Sagittarius. Okay, so for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising, this eclipse is happening in your 5th house. This is a really nice energy to have in your 5th house. This could be, I mean, if this is applicable to you, this could be a new romance coming in. This could be a new, you know, this could even be like a surprise birth of some kind, as, you know, pregnancy, child kind of energy. And it's like out of the blue and like, wait, what just happened? I'm what? Just be aware of this. If not, this is a new hobby, something that you're truly passionate about. This could be a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend or someone coming into your life that you are really passionate about and that you really, you know, you're really excited about. And they're completely different than who it is that you would expect, because maybe you wouldn't expect who this person is and why you would be so attracted to them. It's very dynamic with Uranus here. This could also be with Uranus here. This could also be taking a hobby and having it blow up and be really lucrative for you in terms of taking your hobby and making money with it, because, you know, Uranus does rule your 2nd house of finances. So that is totally a thing here too. With Saturn squaring the nodes, this is happening, you know, in your 11th and in your 5th house. So Saturn in your 2nd house, this has maybe been limiting your finances or having you get very clear on what it is that you value, having you get very clear on the money that you're making or not making. And so with this square to the nodes, there could be a need to let go of a group, letting go of maybe an organization, or letting go of a philanthropic goal, or maybe even a philanthropic goal or an old goal coming back from the past, right? There's a balance that needs to be struck here with these nodes. But with Saturn, you know, squaring the north node as well, this can mean that you need to be very diligent in terms of your money, your materials, your possessions, your finances, what you're letting go of in terms of aligning yourself with things and moving more towards into your passions, like letting go of what it is that people say or think in your friends groups and moving more towards what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that brings you joy, what it is that brings you pleasure. that kind of thing. And then Venus conjunct Jupiter and sextile to Pluto is happening in your first and in your third house. And so this is really good for communicating with other people. This could be you yourself are kind of manifesting the people in your community, or manifesting something really beautiful for your community specifically. And there's also this sense that you can speak magic to the world, right? Like I say it that way, and I don't know any other way to say it. It sounds really woo-woo and it sounds really out there, but like maybe the things that you say and do with other people can be so crazy focused as to manifest it into reality quickly, like that, right? Like that could be a thing with this. But it's not bad, right? Because it's, I mean, it's Jupiter and Venus. It's the both benefic planets. There could also be a lot of communication going on, and maybe you're feeling really intense about it, right? But it's good communication. So that is what I have for that as well. And so that's what's going on for Capricorn. For Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this eclipse is happening in your fourth house. There's something new. There could be a new property, a new home, you know, something new coming in terms of something that's happening with your parents or your lineage or your line, something that you're not seeing clearly right now in terms of your home, your property, you know, the things that are going on there, even behind the scenes, right? There could be something going on with your mom or your dad, right? There's this fourth house has to do with your home, your family, and your property. And so with your chart ruler here, this is a co-ruler for you. You know, your focus could be on your home and your family, and there's something really big and profound that's changing here. And so with Saturn squaring the nodes in your sign, there is a need to let go around the fear of having a career or being seen out in the world, and a need to go more towards your home and your family and what's going on behind the scenes. There could be a letting go for you of specific ways of showing up out in the world, and you're showing up in a very dynamic and different way on the home front as well. Now, Jupiter and Venus are coming conjunct in your second house. And so this could be really great in terms of your finances, right? Having a Pisces second house could mean that your finances are kind of in flux. They come in, but then money has to go out. It's like you don't know where the money is coming from, but somehow it manifests, but then you have to pay it all out in these bills. And so with Jupiter here, this could have been expanding on that, but now with Venus here, Venus is exalted, there could be money left over, and there could be money maybe even from a behind the scenes benefactor, or something that is going on in terms of like, yeah, like behind the scenes with Pluto there in the 12th house. This could be money. I mean, this is probably really specific, but this could be money coming in from a private organization to help you with your home front, to help you, you know, with, or not your home front, with your finances specifically. This could be money coming in from like the government, with it being Capricorn. This could be money coming in from a secret organization or something like that. But there's definitely some intensity on, you know, finances for you specifically, but it's not bad, right? Because this is Venus and Jupiter, and they're both benefic planets. So it could be expanding on what's coming in for you, and being very crystal clear about even a spiritual practice that, you're making lucrative or something like that, right? Like it could be something like that too. So that is what I have for Aquarius. And so for Pisces and for Pisces rising, you know, this eclipse is happening in your third house. So there's something new coming in for you in terms of your community, your vehicles, your communication, how you're communicating even. This could be even a spiritual business that you are deciding that you're going to start, or that you're doing, that all of a sudden you're blowing up on social media or something like that, especially with, you know, especially with Uranus here. Uranus does rule your second house of finances, and it's in your third. So maybe there's something going on, you know, with that. And so that could be a thing for you with this eclipse. You're not seeing it clearly yet. You don't know how it's fully going to manifest, but it'll manifest, and in a very dynamic and very weird way. And with Saturn in your 12th house, squaring the nodes from your, Aquarius, Saturn, yes, 12th. Yes, with your 9th, all of a sudden I forget how to do astrology on Pisces. I'm sorry, Pisces. So with Saturn squaring the nodes from your 12th house, your 9th house and your 3rd house are being affected. So you're letting go with Saturn here in the 12th house. There's a need to kind of maybe you want to pull away and you want to rest with Saturn here, and you can't. You're being pushed more into that 6th house of everyday grind, and you just want to rest, right? With Saturn here in the 12th house, that can be a thing. This can also be a dark night of the soul type situation too, where you don't feel connected to source, you don't feel connected to, you know, a higher power, or you don't feel connected to anything else. And it's like you're having to sit here with everything going on, and like maybe there's some fear that needs to be released. Maybe there's a mindset that needs to be changed in terms of how you view the reality around you, because maybe it's not as dark as you think it is, right? Especially with the South Node there. It's releasing a mindset about how the world actually works and the reality that you're actually living in. It's getting very clear about what's real and what's not, and what's pretense. And then with the North Node there in your 3rd house, this is moving more towards thinking and speaking and communicating in a much more dynamic way, without the fear, without the propagation of fear, right? And it's going to be nicer, right, with that Venusian energy. Now, Jupiter and Venus are conjunct in your sign. Like Venus coming through your sign has been very nice, very pleasant, very easy in a way. And with them coming conjunct in your sign, this is beneficial for you. This is like the world is your oyster. You can create the reality that you want to create. Excuse me, and your friends can be a part of that because of the sextile to Pluto up in your 11th house. Like you can have very powerful alignments with people. You can have very powerful hopes, wishes, dreams, and goals that manifest for you specifically with this conjunction happening of Venus and Jupiter at the time of this eclipse, with the sextile to Pluto in your 11th. So that is what I have for Pisces, and so that is what I have for you all. So again, I am so sorry that I have been absent. I'm going to try to get a video, at least one video a week out, if not every other week. So this eclipse video is really good for the next 2 weeks. So if you stayed here till the very end, thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, all the things. Find me over on Instagram. Everything is in the description box below. Thank you so much, and let's have a wild ride, everyone. All right, bye now.